Borushiki is back, baby, and it looks like he's been watching some Yu Yu Hakusho.
It's just my pure energy, and I bet it can kick the crap out of your spirit gun.
That depends on what finger I use.
Powerful Nerdcast assemble! Stay dandy, baby. Greetings, my friends, happy holidays, and welcome to another review of the Boruto Naruto Next Generation manga series. It seems like for the last 5 months, we've been stuck in the woods with Kawaki, Boruto, and Code. Luckily, things managed to pick up a lot more in this chapter as we get the return of Naruto, Shikamaru, and of course, everybody's favorite Otsutsuki member who has a massive chip on his shoulder and just really wants to return from the dead, Momoshiki, better known as Borushiki. But before we go further into this review, I'd like to ask all of you, if you're not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and think about doing so you can see all my latest videos when they're released. If you're already subscribed, bell button, hit it. Helps you see all my videos when they are released, and if you like my content, you could also go ahead, hit the like button. Super easy to do, helps out these videos a lot. You guys could also go the extra mile by checking out my Patreon page, where you can make a small monthly donation, which will go a long way in making me a very happy Cory. I would really appreciate that. I'd also love to put your name up with all these other people that you currently see on screen. They are the super producers of Ace Guru, but here we are, the latest chapter of Boruto, and man, I'll be damned if this hasn't been one of the slowest parts of the entire story, and most of that is owed to the fact that this is a monthly manga series. If this was running on a weekly basis, this wouldn't even be a problem. Hell, we'd already be through it. But the fact of the matter is, we've been watching these assholes fight in the woods for like 5 months, and almost nothing really of major importance has happened. It's basically just been trading blows left and right, but this is the chapter where things manage to get just a little more interesting, and it's all thanks to Momoshiki making his grand return. And I'm honestly surprised that it happened so soon, especially because they were really building up the fact that this brand new drug that Boruto was taking was going to suppress the Otsutsukification, and that they were really trying to sort of buy some time before Momoshiki could return, especially with him being able to suppress him. But no, he's back, and he's more pissed off than ever. In fact, what I think I really loved most about this chapter is that we had two villains who were sort of competing against one another, with Code being very awestruck at seeing an actual Otsutsuki, and the fact that Momoshiki really just wants to take the 10 tails and the chakra fruit for himself. So we have two competing villains, and if you've ever seen any of my reviews in the past, I love when villains fight against other villains. I just think it's really interesting, and here things manage to really just explode off of the page, and a lot of that comes from the fact that when Momoshiki ends up taking over Boruto's body, things get really intense as he's able to utilize all of his abilities in ways that we've never seen before. I mean, yeah, we're gonna see some classic Rasendans, that's just sort of a thing that these characters do. But I had no idea that this guy would have the ability to quite literally create a brand new form of it known as the Rasendan, which essentially is like a flying Rasengan bullet that can rip through people's bodies and presumably cause a lot of damage in the process. And when he did that to Code in this chapter as he was holding Kawaki hostage, you gotta admit, that was pretty freaking badass. I hope to see more of that technique in the future, and this is essentially where he starts to take over the battle, and Code realizes that maybe he's a little in over his head. And the fact that they've been building up Code like he's this end-all, be-all, super godlike badass character, it's surprising that Momoshiki is able to utilize such extreme powers just using Boruto's body. Again, it's just another reminder that these Otsutsuki are on a completely different level when compared to some of the other characters in the series. And he manages to take Kawaki again, basically making him his bitch, and just beating the hell out of him in the process every single time Kawaki tries to do something. And of course, that usually results, again, like I said, in him getting his ass collectively smacked. But things get really awesome when Naruto and Shikamaru decide to arrive on the battlefield. I especially love the scene where Borushiki is stomping down on Kawaki, and then suddenly you see that shadow paralysis come in, the big shadow from underground from Shikamaru, and apparently he's also able to just straight up absorb that as well, so that's pretty freaking awesome. I love that. And then this is when we get this like big hostage standoff where Code takes Shikamaru and he's claiming that he's going to cut his throat open if they do anything. Shikamaru, of course, is saying, Naruto, don't worry about it, just go for it. Kawaki is, of course, freaking out because he doesn't want Naruto to get involved in the battle because he doesn't have Kurama anymore, the potential of him actually being hurt, but that's just not what Naruto is going to do. As the Hokage, he is going to protect everyone within his village, now using his Sage and Senjutsu mode. And then it gives us this nice big twist ending, which is really awesome, where you get to see that Borushiki is planning to attack Naruto because he's just another thorn in his side. He's going to, out of an act of convenience, help out Code here, and he attacks him with a massive Rasendan, which suddenly starts to get absorbed by none other than Kawaki, who has revealed his brand new karma for the very first time, the karma that was gifted to him by Amato, and basically it looks very similar to the Karma Form 2 that he had in the past, where he starts to look a little bit like Ishiki, where he has the weird horn coming up around his head and the very distinctive patterns going down his arms. It's pretty awesome, and it's pretty clear that this is all a part of some weird ulterior motive and plan on Amato's part, who's really playing things close to the chest. He's being very secretive about what his overall plan for Kawaki is going to be, but the overall image at the end of him going through that transformation and absorbing that Rasengan is nothing short of awesome, as now it's pretty clear we're going to get one hell of a battle between both Borushiki and Kawaki in this brand new form, and I have a feeling it's going to be pretty freaking badass. I loved it. So, what's the rundown on the latest chapter of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations? There's a lot to love about this chapter, and it's mostly because it was just a straight fighting chapter, and it had a lot of really great moments. Basically just Borushiki just kicking the shit out of everyone. Code in particular, who really got his clock freaking cleaned in this chapter. Even Ida, who has some of the most broken abilities in the series, is saying, you should probably retreat before this guy kicks your ass. I'm not sure if Kishimoto or the other people who've worked on the Boruto manga and anime series had big plans for Momoshiki when he was introduced at the beginning. Otherwise, originally I just saw him as something of a wall and an obstacle for our characters to get over, but it's pretty clear that him coming back in the series has definitely made him, I think, one of the craziest villains of the entire series, and I can't wait to see overall how he's going to gel with Code being in the picture here and how things are going to actually go from this point. And now that we have Naruto and Shikamaru here, I mean, anyone's head is on the chopping block. I mean, at this point, they can do what they want. They've already, taken away Kurama. Sasuke's already lost his eye. There's the potential that Naruto could die, especially with that pivotal scene at the beginning of Boruto, which every single time Naruto's in a dangerous situation at this point, I'm already just instantly nervous knowing that this could be the moment that he could be snuffed out from the series. And if it does happen, it's going to be a major and controversial moment, I think, amongst the fans. I mean, does Kishimoto have the balls to kill off his very own main character? It's not like we haven't seen that in other previous anime and manga series before, but I just don't know if that's truly what's actually going to happen here, especially with the vagueness of how Kawaki worded that at the very beginning of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. What I did love about this chapter, however, again, was just that Rasendan, that bullet. That thing was freaking awesome. I loved that moment, the look of it, and how devastatingly painful that probably has to be when it passes right through Code's shoulder. That looked like it was pretty devastating. That and his use of just the different massive Rasengans and the beatdown of Kawaki made this a brutal and very just amazingly badass chapter. I just loved the action in this chapter so much. If there's one thing they continue to do right in the Boruto series, is that the action continues to be really fun to look at and to read. But I just don't know what's going to happen here. I mean, there is the potential for some major character deaths, and I mentioned Naruto, but I'd be really upset if they decided to even kill off the character of Shikamaru, and that's just, again, a lot of that has to do with the history of the character, of knowing him for so long, seeing him form a family and go against all the odds to become basically the number 2 in Konoha Village. You can debate whether number 2 is Shikamaru or Sasuke. The fact of the matter is, politically speaking, he's number 2 to Naruto. He's the brain behind the brawn, and he's always been one of the most endearing characters of the entire series. He's definitely a case of that, and I'm only saying this because I just watched Spider-Man No Way Home. With great power comes great responsibility. Shikamaru is a very intelligent person, and he uses his brain for the goodness of Konoha Village, and if they were going to get rid of him here, it would just be devastating. It almost could be the possibility that this was all a part of Amato's plan as well, as he wants to snuff out Shikamaru knowing that he's the only person in Konoha Village who matches him on a level of intellect and could potentially be a problem for him for any plan that he has, which could all be a part of the fact that Kawaki has gotten his karma back. Now, this begs the question though, like, when did he get this karma again? I mean, the obvious answer is when Kawaki got his brand new arm. It was already implanted in there, and it was just a matter of connecting it to Kawaki's body, but clearly this is not going to be like any karma that we've actually seen before. This is going to be a more weaponized form of it, and it's going to be sort of like, I think, the turning point for Kawaki in the series, now knowing that he has his power back and he can do a lot with it, and now that it's potentially on a brand new level, all this time that he spent in Konoha could mean dick. He might just leave and start his very own evil, villainous organization for all we know. It's hard to say. We know eventually it's going to lead to a conflict between both Kawaki and Boruto. We just don't know the means behind it, but we could right now be seeing the seeds which are being planted for that in the future. I'd also be remiss if I didn't talk about the color page of this chapter, which I thought was pretty freaking awesome. Just Naruto standing around with his cape blowing in the wind, but it manages to look pretty freaking awesome, and it's a stark reminder that no, he doesn't have Kurama anymore, but he is a master of Sage Mode, and I'm hoping that he can maybe show us some new things that we've never seen before with the technique. And again, just reminding us that, yeah, Naruto's still pretty freaking powerful. Don't count him out now that Kurama is gone. Otherwise, this chapter is finally starting to move things in a more tense situation. Things are starting to really pick up, and I guess we're just going to spend a little more time in the woods fighting. I mean, you could basically describe the entire Naruto series just like that, but everything that's been going on in this arc has been sort of building up to this moment right here. This is where things are really going to turn around, I think, and it only sucks that we gotta wait another month just to get some answers. But for now, let's enjoy what we have, and let's try to speculate on what's going to happen in the future. For me, though, I really enjoyed this chapter. I mean, I'm a sucker for this type of cool action stuff, especially freaking gun Rasengans that you can shoot from your fingers. That's just fucking awesome. I love that. I'm giving this chapter a 5 out of 5. Just really tense, really fun to read. Great cliffhanger ending with Kawaki's brand new karma form. But you heard my thoughts on the chapter. I want to hear yours. Tell me what you thought about the latest chapter of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations. I would love to hear your thoughts about Borushiki taking over, or Kawaki's brand new form, how he received the karma secretly from Amato, and what this is going to mean for the future of the series. Any predictions for character deaths or just predictions in general? Let's talk all about it. Comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. I'll see you all next time. And as always, stay down there, baby.